Welcome to the Real CP Show. I'm your host, CP. And today's topic, California reparations of 12 million, insulting in parentheses to Black Americans. Game playing, because that is some game playing, nonsensical nonsense. When I read about this chicken feed amount and the insultingness that it is, there were some numbers of personnel that were relaying some things about this California reparations and things like that. At the same time, it was still a very small amount of people that was talking about this, and even there was some piece of extra that quite a number of people really didn't talk about, and I just kind of wanted to relay that over in this show on this. But let me first read. Actually, first, let me show you. So, your California task force members. Now, there are ones who have seen the members, and there's quite enough people who have not seen who the California Reparations Task Force members were. And for the ones who have not, when you looking at the non-members, you do see something, also a person or personnel that stands out. Now remember, this is supposed to be reparations, and what should have been reparations committee conversations by American Blacks. But let me just, because no one else will allow American Blacks to be on any type of committee, especially talking about reparations for them, or talking about getting some kind of resources for them. You get what I'm talking about, right? Because that should be logical sense. But in this system supremacy is how they look upon numbers of multi-millions American Blacks as this kind of childish a little bit of not seeing through the games, with very few exceptions. And this is why, again, numbers of supremacists and other different people from different cultures and backgrounds, and even quite a number of people who slot under the Black banner, who know they are, who are a lot of them are fakers, who know they are, who benefit off of Black pain of the American Blacks, right? But let's just read something before I get into what I'm going to get into. Assembly Bill 3121. AB 3121 was enacted on September the 30th, 2020, and establishes the task force to study and develop reparation proposals for African Americans. The task force, or reparations task force, AB 3121 chart, that's not an important part there. The institution of slavery is inextricably woven into the establishment, history, and prosperity of the United States. Right? Constitutionality and statutorily sanctioned. Constitutionality and statutorily sanctioned, people, from 1619 to 1865. Slavery deprived more than 4 million Africans, which was more than that. People like to minimize things on that, and their descendants of life, liberty, citizenship, cultural heritage, and economic opportunity. Following the abolition of slavery, government entities at the federal, government entities at the state, government entities at the local levels continue to perpetuate, condone, and often profit from practices that brutalize African Americans and excluded them from meaningful participation in society. This legacy of slavery and racial discrimination has resulted in debilitating economic, educational, and health hardships that are likely experienced not like not excuse me that are uniquely experienced by African Americans, or I would say African ancestors, native blacks, or I would say American blacks. Yes. And just reading that piece, it don't take a person with a super smart mind to say, my goodness. So what's taking so long for black folks, American blacks in general, to get reparations, right? Do you see how that sounds? But let's just continue. But I want to set that foundation part up. And so the thing about it is, uh, I'm going to read some California budget, how they talk about 12 million for reparations for black residents, right? And they talk about how, excuse me, give me a second here. It said California's reparations movement reached a new milestone after state lawmakers recently set aside 12 million in its next budget to provide recompense to black residents. The allocation potentially represents the largest investment yet in the fledgling campaign for reparations. What an insult, right? Fledgling campaign for reparations. They said the budget deal is historic, said this particular person, a reparations activist who lobbied lawmakers on this issue. Obviously, it's not enough, said this particular person, but this is the first time ever that reparations for black people will be in a line item in a state budget. It's like, get out of here with this minimizing. Right? So get out here with this damn minimizing. That ain't doing American blacks no favors. And it's a sadder thing when you got personnel within some parts of American blackism that minimize as well. Right? It's like, this is such a ridiculous thing. And so continuing on this article, it talks about how California is pursuing what could become the country's largest and most expensive government funded effort to offer reparations to black residents for decades of racial discrimination. What in the hell are they talking about? Right? This could become the largest, California in pursuing what could become the country's largest and most expensive government funded effort to offer reparations to black residents for decades of racial discrimination. So we're just going to pretend that many people see nothing, they hear nothing, and they know nothing, right? It's as if people are doing black folks, American blacks, a damn favor, right? For this. Oh my goodness, it's going to be it could be the country's most expensive government funded effort to offer reparations for black residents for decades. First, that piece of crap ass response. What do you mean decades? Do you see the most nonsense one that I read about the AB 3121 document on that, or that foundational part, right? That happened for centuries. It's been going on. Right. And it's like, unfortunately, there are quite a number within American blackism that sit there and tolerate these blatant, disrespectful, minimizing tactics, right? That no one else in no other culture, no other background is going to tolerate. You ain't gonna minimize any damn thing about what we've been told how many times what Native Americans are. Do people sit there and minimize the hell out of Native Americans or what we call Native Americans? You say which Native Americans, by the way, because numbers of Black Native Americans, there are Black Native American people, and they get treated like shit by hiring some other personnel by various other damn tribes, right? Because they're Black Native American, Black Natives people. But regardless, do you hear people minimizing the hell out of what we call what we call Native Americans? Right? Do you hear people within various parts of predominant culture, be it California, be it any other damn states and stuff like that, saying we ain't got anything to do with removing Native Americans from their land? Nope. Right? You don't hear numbers of personnel within various parts of predominant culture and some other cultures and some slot of ass hand personnel that has some face of Black, the ones I know I'm talking about, that use the Black, they're Black when it's convenient for them, right? But at the same time, look at Black American Blacks and be like, why they always talking about racism? And it's not enough American, and then some other people who slot under the minority card, right? Who play that little tactic, right? You see how this goes. You don't hear these other personnel talking about, oh my, I had nothing to do with Native Americans. I'm not the white man who took their land. But something dealing with Black residents within California, and where it's in general, it's oh my goodness, it's it might be some of the largest and most expensive government funded effort for offer reparations to Black residents for decades. How in the hell gonna be damn decades when you're talking about the enslavementness or the formal enslavementness, what's happened for generations before the 19 damn hundreds, man, right? When you still have people that had Black codes that was going on 16 damn hundreds. So how in the hell can it be? How in the hell can it be this minimization? And going back in California, when it came to be within the United States at that damn time, what was still going on for American Blacks in general across the damn country? Segregation. And even though California was brought in under wink wink slave state, how many still allowed the enslavement of Black folks, allowed the racial racism, terrorism toward American Blacks within California? But you see the minimization that continue to keep going on. So this other particular article talks about inside California's new budget of nearly $300 billion. It says the budget includes $12 million for reparations measures for the state's Black residents. Over the weekend, Governor Gavin Newsom approved a budget for California that will close a state deficit estimated at $46.8 billion. Now keep that in mind. A state deficit estimated at $46.8 billion. The $297.9 billion budget for the fiscal year that begins today, this is a couple of days ago, covers that shortfall by cutting state spending drawn from reserves and suspending some tax breaks for businesses, among other measures. This is a responsible budget that prepares for the future while investing in foundational programs that benefit millions of Californians every day, Newsom said in a statement. What people is not telling people in little white lies, how much of that budget also helps out border breaking illegal immigrant personnel, right? How many personnel go straight to whichever the particular agency to sit there and get themselves on food stamps, because you ain't got to be no damn citizen, and they surely ain't gonna damn check on that. The ones who know I'm talking about how to play the game when they go to those office. I speak no English. Interpreter, wink, wink, granting of food stamps, right? Border break illegal immigrant personnel. That person has 2 kids already coming over, 1 kid, 3 kids, that's depending. They pop out one or two other ones or three other ones, depending on the situation. Automatic citizenship, right? How much of that budget is going toward them? Free maternity care, right? And whichever other resources that are given to border break and legal immigrant personnel, helping them out, getting them situated. But you got people got a damn problem with numbers of American blacks getting some kind of reparations. And again, I'm not talking about the coonish ones. I'm not talking about the sellout type of black folks. But this is so ridiculous. But continuing, this article talks about how, despite the overall tightness of the state's finances, this year's budget includes a new line item: funds for reparations for black residents. The state created a task force in 2020 to look into possible reparations for its 2.5 million black residents. Though California joined the union as a free state, black people were still enslaved here. And experts say that for generations, discriminatory housing, voting, and criminal justice policies make it harder for black Californians to accumulate wealth. First of all, in that 2.5 million American black residents, that don't mean they talking about American black. You see how that goes? You have to watch those slimy, you got to watch the slippery, little slimy little tactics sometime. Because it's like, wait a minute, no. We got to make sure that's American blacks, right? The person's at least mama, daddy, grandparents, something had to be going back, right? It had to be something dealing with American blacks. And you got some people that have the face of black that's try to slide under the American black banner who know who they are, right? That's the most slimy ass tactics on that, right? And there's just not enough American blacks that are calling this nonsense out. So it talks about how last year the task force recommended more than 100 policy changes in education, housing, and other areas. A formal apology from the state to black residents, and most notably, billions of dollars in direct cash payments. Right? That's one of those things where people got little puppet up their tail. Cash payments. Especially there are certain numbers of ones within the plant-based culture that got this vile hatred, the ones applies to about toward American blacks. You say reparations, they go crazy. Well, I ain't got anything to do with slavery. And it's like, fool, what about after slavery? Fool, right? Do you sit there and tell that shit to what we call Native Americans? Do you tell them, the one I'm talking about, do they tell them? I ain't got anything removing Native Americans from reservations. Nope, of course not, because they're cowards, right? They talk about American blacks. I got nothing to do with slavery, but they won't tell Harvard people. I ain't got anything to do with removing Native Americans for reservations. Why my taxpayers' money got to go toward them? Nope. I'm telling you, there's some derangement within certain parts of Panamanian culture. Certain ones. There are some little slimy little games between personnel that try to play that people of color card and a minority card. And then you got some little ones that do the fakish, that have the face of black, and they slide under the black banner, and they, about the ones it applies to, they run from certain parts of Africa, certain parts of the beautiful Caribbeans, and run off planes and trains and everything else that come across that border legally. Ones that come across legally, with very few exceptions, that are just coming over to try to get some opportunities. But the rest of the other ones, they can't stand American blacks either, but they have the face of black. You see how that goes. It's a disgusting tactic that the American blacks don't see through. And even this little chump change chicken feed 12 million is just as an insulting of chicken feed on that. Because again, that 12 million little chicken feed, you got certain ones within the Panamanian culture. You got some other different ones that slide under people of color banner, minority banner, border break, and legal immigrant personnel. Person that has the face of black slide under the black banner. They got a thing up their tail about black folks getting reparations. But there's however many countries within Africa who's trying to get reparations. Talking about the damn kettle, right? Calling the other kettle black. You saw that nonsense. You got however numbers of beautiful Caribbean islands, the ones it applies to, that are trying to get reparations. But you got certain ones within certain parts of the Caribbean, beautiful Caribbean islands, got a problem with black folks getting reparations. You see how this shit goes? You see how this goes? And see, again, this part already, this gives a lot of people on their skin. Cash payments, I ain't got anything to do with that. Go to hell. Look at this stuff right here. The new state budget includes 12 million for reparation measures, but not for cash payments. I see nothing. I hear nothing. I know nothing. Yes, people want to talk about that. It said the new state budget includes 12 million for reparation measures, but not for cash payments. My freaking good. Wow. What insult? No, let's play it again. No, let's play it again. So it doesn't include cash payments, right? Wow. Wow. Did did people have a problem with cash payments going to the Japanese, right? For something to happen in World War II, and that would have been only a not a large amount of Japanese Americans and other Japanese personnel. Any people, some personnel got a problem with that? No. So when I was sitting there reading about this 12 million chicken feed, that was the outcome for uh, Black Americans, or was supposed to be Black Americans, of 12 million, it was an insult. Because again, it is saying that the 12 million for reparations measures is not for cash payments. What in the hell? It said it is meant to cover the cost of legislative changes now being considered to help Black Californians. Wow. They include giving people from historically redlined communities priority for certain educational grants. That's not specifically for American Blacks. Establishing a fund to help reduce violence in predominantly Black communities. Oh, now we want to talk about that. And you talking about a fund? How about sitting there doing that away from some type of reparations? How about just sitting there, just as people help border break illegal immigrant personnel sit there and set up shop in different places and get their stuff together, and sitting there giving free hotel vouchers and giving free food and allowing emergency rooms to utilize or using border breaking legal personnel utilize emergency rooms as a medical facility, right? Paying free, not paying any damn thing, right? How many of those kids? Anyway, I'm going to all that, but well, how many of their kids sit there and get whichever assistance to help them out on different things, right? How about people sitting there and build build facilities that house different things to help American Black youth to be able to look at things different? That is a form of reparations as well. But no, that's not what people want to do, right? It said in a formal apology from the state, uh, memorialized in a plaque at the state capitol for the harm done to racism, right? But remember, no cash payments. What an insult. And so if I close again, looking at this particular picture of the 9, do you really think that within certain sections of Asianness, again, I'm not talking about the good ones. Oh, I also want to show something. I almost forgot something. Let me sit there and show something. Give me a second here. Oh, no. Before I do that, let's talk about this. You see out of 9 personnel, you see the Asian person, this particular Asian personnel. This one out of on 9, which is supposed to be a task force about reparations for Black Californians, but you got an Asian person on there. Well, I mean, but but what difference does it make? I'm not playing that disgusting ass game. Not playing that damn game on that part. It's almost like within American Blackism, collectively, modern day, it's like the inferiority complex is very real. If numbers of American Blacks don't include other people in their output or input first, or don't allow people to play the minority and people of color switchery toward American Blacks, then there's a problem. And then this is what quite a number of other cultures do when they utilize American Blacks uh, as a little poster board to get resources and do good things for them. This is what numbers of them do. Yes, this is the kind of what people in different cultures do. Because they said those silly little Negroes, they don't know what kind of game we keep playing with them. We keep using them as if they just came over here, right? And so, finishing up on this particular picture, the thing of it is, there are people also that slide under the banner of Black, right? Who know they are. They're not American Black, right? They're not American Black. They can't do the genealogy back for several generations and be connected specifically for American Black, right? But slide under the banner of Black, and it's accepted. When I was sitting there looking at this particular picture, and also within some possible other ones, American Blacks within the picture here for a second, right? The problem is also that unfortunately there are personnel that can be under the American Blacknism, but still do not have a problem with not saying anything about when you have something specifically that's supposed to be American Black, then that's what it means, specific American Black, right? But nobody else is going to allow American Blacks to sit there and be on any kind of panel, any kind of conversations, right? Any kind of input about things specifically for another culture. They'd be like, no, American Black man, American Black woman, no, we don't need you to tell us about anything. You stay over there. But within American Blackism, numbers of American Blacks got to have other people to sit there and put input in that has nothing to do with them. In this situation, you like, if you think one, well, beside the Asian person, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If you think that's regardless American Black in the story, I guess people can believe what they want to believe on that. On that, right? But let me sit there and show you something. When I was sitting there looking at this particular article, I mean, this little picture, not an article. I was looking at this particular picture of this video. Let me see if I can find it here. 3 minorities. Okay, I don't think I have this anymore. California. Okay, never mind. I don't have that picture like I wanted to have it. Hold on for a second. Okay, showing all. Asian. Oh yeah, here it is. I do have that. Let me phrase that. This right here talks about how you see here. I said redress and reparations, Black/Asian intersections. What in the you know what? And two of the people on this particular conversation, you see Mr. Jarvin, or I might be saying incorrect, Scott Lewis and Mr. Donald Tate K. Tamaki, I might be saying it correctly. Sorry about that. But those are two on also what's supposed to be a California task force Why are personnel talking about redress and reparations, black slash Asian intersections? That has not a damn thing to do with American Black, right? But these two people on that panel on the California task force, right? This thing with this black and brown, right? You know how they do this thing with the black and brown, right? Black and Jewish people. You get the point, right? But you don't hear people talking about Asian and brown coalition, a brown and yellow coalition, do you? Or Asian and Jewish coalition. You see this game. You see this game. So, and by the way, in finishing up this last part of this video, I don't know if you can see at the bottom or close to the bottom, it says this particular conversation sponsored by Asian American Research Center. And as I was sitting there looking at that particular part, let me read where it's talked about the Asian American Research Center. It said launched in 2020. The Asian American Research Center at UC Berkeley is a preeminent research center for the study of Asian American / Asian diasporas in national, hemispheric, and global context. By the way, you see what it said earlier. It said Asian Americans. But if you have people said American Blacks or Black Americans, oh my goodness, why are they being divisive? Just call us Africans. And you be like, what? First of all, you got however known as a person within however parts of Africa, they can't stand each other, right? How many villages? How many tribal wars? How many tribal other tribal dislikes happen to one another? You got however parts of Africa where one country has a problem with another country. Do you see how this goes? But American Blacks supposed to say, this call us African. And people like, hold the hell up. My parents been in this country for parents and their parents been in this country for generations, man. Get the hell out of here with that. Right? Go talk to certain numbers of African personnel who don't like other African personnel. Go talk to certain parts of people from the beautiful Caribbeans. They're ones who can't stand other Caribbean personnel, Caribbean islands. You see how that shit goes? But some about American Blacks, they're supposed to just, don't have their own uniqueness. And unfortunately, numbers of American Blacks in this naiveness allow other people to play this game with few exceptions. But continue, it said it brings together a vibrant, innovative, and dynamic assemblage of scholars, researchers, policymakers, community organizers, and cultural producers to address a multiplicity of interests and concerns. The center works to raise public awareness of Asian American / diaspora issues and advance cutting edge research, develop innovative curricula, and promote community campus engagement. Where the hell did it say anything about talking about American Black issues? Right? Where did it say that at? But you see on this particular picture, it said redress and reparations, Black / Asian intersections, right? About two of these personnel were on the California task force. Do you see some situation with that? Right? Just saying. See, certain things are not just completely American Black. But you got personnel that slide under the Black banner, and you got personnel that of certain of the American Blackism, but then allow other people to get involved with things that should have been specific for American Blacks. This is happening throughout however parts of the country, right? And it is pretty bad on that, because the numbers of American Blacks will collectively will not say, well, it's certainly not quite enough at all to say, hold the hell up. American Blacks do not need others to tell them about what American Blacks need. American Blacks tell other people what American Blacks need and what is supposed to be earned for generations of Black pain. So this is all I wanted to relay over in this particular topic for today on that, because it is an insult on this. Things are right in front of your personnel's face on this. So I just kind of wanted to do this for a timepiece purpose, because when I sat there and saw this article about inside California's new budget of nearly 300 billion, and it talks about how the budget includes 12 million for reparations measures for the state's black residents, it's as if people are doing black folks a favor, right? And it's it's kind of funny, but it's not. But again, numbers of American blacks are allowing certain things to continue to keep happening collectively in this modern day, because no other culture is going to sit there and allow American blacks to be on their panels, discussions, conversations about what what they should need. But something about within American black is a modern day, it's like, yeah, many just need someone from other cultures to talk to them about American black issues. Oh man. And the thing, I'm gonna say this, and lastly, when I saw that part about the 12 million chump change chicken feed, and it had nothing to do with cash payments, what a insult. And you got people jumping up, I mean, about to fall all over chairs, getting upset about cash payments for black folks. Oh, I ain't got nothing to do with that. But again, they have no damn problem, because again, many are cowards, because they won't talk about, again, hey, why don't you talk about you had nothing to do with removing Native Americans, what we call Native Americans, from their land. Quietness. You said that, go? Quietness. That you had nothing to do with putting numbers of Japanese Americans and certain Japanese immigration personnel in certain parts of internment camps. How many personnel within Paname's culture has something to do with that? Yeah, that's what I thought, right? But they ain't got a problem with them receiving those cash payments. Do you see how that goes? They ain't got a problem with how what we call Native Americans getting those cash payments. And they'll sit there and play this little dodging, little demonic game and point over here in this little corner. Oh, that particular Native tribe, may get, a small amount of reparations. It's still damn reparations. And how long they been in them getting reparations? And what about those other main type of Native Americans that have no damn casinos? And what about some of these other different Native American people sit there and go to college for free, Pacific for Native Americans? They ain't got a problem with that part, right? As far as not saying I had nothing to do with removing Native Americans from reservations. So you got personnel within Paname's culture, the ones that's supposed to, they ain't got a problem with saying I ain't got anything to do with that. But anything or them getting cash payments, regardless. But something about American black getting cash payments, that's a problem. And unfortunately, quite a number of American blacks are allowing numbers of other people to play this little disgusting game on that, because on that 12 million funky chicken feed little thing that's supposed to be going to black residents in California, again, which black residents, right? On they said that game go, because you got some people that's on the black banner. Well, what about us? It's like, what the hell about you? Go back to whatever your original land is. How about that? Right? You trying to compare what American blacks have been going through for centuries? And you got late coming ass people that slide under the black banner? Get the hell out of here with that tactic. Right? That's like saying American blacks go to certain parts of Africa and say, hold up, man, which is damn true. How many numbers of African countries had direct involvement in bringing numbers of, the Africans ones over to America, right? How many of them do that? But you got numbers of various parts of African countries getting very quiet on that. You see how that shit goes? Right? What about the numbers of Native Americans that enslaved American blacks? But you don't hear conversations about that a lot, do you? But anything doing with reparations for American blacks, you got people got a problem with that. Cash payments, I ain't got to do with that. But again, you say, did you have anything to do with removing Native Americans from their land? They get quiet. You see these games. But that's all I want to relay over, because again, 12 million reparations of chicken feed that's supposed to be given to residents in California And again, unfortunately, there's some sellouts and some gullible ones and some coonish ones, like other different places. Not talking about those personnel. I'm talking about the ones that are good, black folks in California, etc. But what I'm getting at is it's an insult because there's 12 million reparations are not cash payments. What an insult. I thank you for tuning in to the Real CP Show.